Alright guys, Bearded Viking Gamer here, and today I got something special for you. I'm going to do a walkthrough of one of the stores I visit all the time. This is Fallout Games in Phoenix, Arizona. Really cool store. This is coming right in the building here, and right to your right when you walk in is all of their PlayStation 2 stuff. There's lots of items here. I mean, I'm trying just to kind of pan through. You'll see me panning through quite a bit. I'm just trying to get you everything in camera. Some of it I am moving too fast, so I do apologize, but you get the gist of it. This store has a lot of stuff in it, and it just their product moves so quick. You never know what you're going to get when you come in the store. So here we're in the glass case here. This is some special. Some of the items in here are sealed. Like here, right there is a Resident Evil 4 chainsaw. Those are hand done. Those things are freaking awesome. Moving along down here now, you have looks like this is some NES boxed and Game Boy Advanced box. It looks like. See some Game Boy Advanced Star Wars there, and down to NES boxes. A lot of them sports titles, but oh man, Solstice, I remember that. I used to play the heck out of that. There's some Super Nintendo and some Nintendo 64 items there. A GameCube kiosk, pretty cool. Like I said, there's tons of stuff in here. And a lot of these things are for sale. I don't think any of their kiosks are, but I've never actually asked them. Now we're moving on to their NES case here, and try to get that light out of your face there. And this ranges all the time. Every time I come in here and I look into this case, it's always different. The stock moves so fast in here, so you just really never know. So there was one time I came in here, it's just tons of box stuff that somebody had brought in and traded them in. Just neat to see that and keep these stores alive. I love going into these stores. Alright, now we're coming over to where they have their systems on here. I can see a couple different 64 colors. They have a Jaguar down there, Sega Master System, some cool stuff in there. And look at their back wall, just tons of stock stuff you can just buy. Just tons of it in there. Everything back there is for sale. Even some of their Nintendo signs, I've heard them talk about that before. Here's a case now. Where there's Super Nintendo stuff. This is their Super Nintendo case. And I frequent this one a lot. I love the Super Nintendo. It's my favorite system. And just we'll cruise through here and show you what they have in here today. I always love checking out new stuff that comes in here. These guys were very cool. I've asked them if I was able to film here, and they checked with their boss and stuff and said it was okay. I wanted to do it because there wasn't hardly anybody in the store, and that's the best time to do things, because as soon as a bunch of people start coming in the store, then you gotta watch where you're filming. And now we're on to the Nintendo 64 case over here, and this stuff moves really fast too. I've seen items in here, as soon as you want to go and get something, even if you go to the other side of the room and you're looking at something, you come back over, there's been stuff that's been gone that I've wanted. Now we're into the Sega Genesis, and as you can see, there's a bunch of box stuff in here. I'm sorry I'm moving too quick here, but I'm trying to get it all in. There's a little Sega Master System loose. On the wall right behind here is a lot of their boxed Sega Master System games. You'll see that here. I'll pan up here afterwards. There we go. You can see there's just lots of boxes. They have the zapper and all that in there. Oh, a bunch of first-party controllers. Lots of stuff in there. Game Genie booklets. I mean, it's cool if you wanted to get those codes from the Game Genie back then. There's another wall with some more controllers on it. And then right here is your Game Boy Advance, Game Boys, and all those games in here. Game Boy Color. There's a Adventures of Link and Metroid in there. Those were sealed still, actually. Going through there, had the plastic still around them. Those things were still sealed. Kind of cool. Those will be gone next time I come in. I guarantee it. But yeah, just look at all these Game Boy games and Game Boy Color games. Just lots of stuff to look at. A lot of eye candy. Alright, now moving into this next case here is PSP games, things like that. Yeah. A lot of the UMD discs. Here's a lot of their loose 3DS games and DS games. Lots of them loose, man. And behind me is a big rack that has a whole bunch of them on here, and I'll show you here in a second. And this bottom case down here, every time I'm in here, it's normally really full. They're the Amiibo characters, and there's hardly anything in here. So if somebody came through and cleaned house, there's hardly anything in there now. Let's pen this back wall. You have a bunch more controllers, items, boxes. Now you're down here, this is some of the Jaguar games and Vita, some loose Vita stuff here. This is Game Gear, some Game Gear games all in here. This normally takes up 2 shelves too, and they're down to a shelf on that one, so somebody's been buying some of that stuff up. Here's some here's the Nintendo DS and 3DS cartridges I was telling you about, or the cases. Lots of items here too on these cases. The way they have them shelved here sideways so you can read all the labels on them. Pan around on this other side here. This is a lot of the sports titles, or not really expensive games. They're out in the open here. This is for your Super Nintendo, your Nintendo 64, your Genesis, items like that. A lot of sports titles, low level. In this case, is their higher end stuff. They have a lot of really good stuff in here. As you can see, a Rule of Rose there. I believe the price on that's $300. It's kind of crazy, man. This stuff's jumped up. But they have some really good stuff in here. There was a Metroid trilogy that I was wanting, was eyeballing, and might come back and get it. I don't know. They have Ill Bleed there for the Dreamcast. This is the really cool counter right here. I love seeing all the stuff in here. Yeah. That Contra there on the DS. Some Sega Saturn, Panzer Dragoon Saga. I think that's $800 right there in that case. You don't really see those anymore. Alright, from the left of that case now, it looks like we're into PlayStation 3. Now, I'll just scan these kind of quickly here, show you guys some of their PlayStation 3 collection. A bunch of accessories for those systems. A bunch of third-party controllers I saw up there on the 64 stuff. Yeah, there was a Saturn game in that case that I was looking at, Beyond the Oasis. Looking at getting that for the Saturn. Here we're on to some PlayStation 4. I'm kind of cruising these quickly because this is the common one. People are starting to come in right now, so I'm trying to not catch them on camera because it's just not a nice thing to do. Scanning it real quickly here. Jump into some of the Xbox One stuff. gosh, they just have a big collection of things, and this always changes. I've always seen a good full stock on their items, but their NES case and their Super Nintendo case, that changes frequently. I mean, that stuff is, people pick that stuff up all the time, so they're always getting different stock on it. Now we're going to jump to these islands here in the middle, and these are all their PlayStation 1 titles. Mostly in alphabetical order, but I do find them mixed and matched in there from people picking through and not coming back through things. Here's quite a bit of sports titles in here today, but most of the time there's some real goodies in here. Let's see. Gotta go on real quick here for you. Sorry, guys. I wanted to cruise in here and film this while there was not a lot of people in here. This is another random area of their 360 stuff. They actually have, against their wall where the Xbox One stuff was, there's actually two huge two huge bookcases full of the 360 stuff here. Here's another more leftovers of their PlayStation 3 stuff coming across. I'll jump to the next island here. Here's some cool stuff. We got some Dreamcast titles all in here. Of course, their higher end Dreamcast titles are in that spot in the back there. Some Sega CD stuff, more Dreamcast. You get down to some Sega Saturn. Yeah, and then you get some import stuff, that's neat too. Alright, moving on to this is their overflow of Xbox 360, and now there's some Vita stuff in there. There's a little PSP setup and they have in here. These are all PSP games now. Still have yet to get a PSP. I didn't pick one up. I picked one up when they first came out a long time ago, and then of course I ended up getting rid of that. And ever since then I told myself I will never get rid of any system stuff anymore. I'm just going to keep going with it, and look where I'm at now. I have so much stuff. It's awesome. And now we're on to original Xbox. Gosh, just tons of sports overflow. But, yeah, Grab by Ghoulies, cool things like that. I mean, Silent Hill 4 there. Silent Hill, yeah. True Crime when that first came out. A lot of demo discs right there, guys. You don't normally see that stuff anymore. Cool Xbox demo discs. I wish they still did that kind of stuff where they put the demos on the discs. That's just neat that they did it back then. No internet, really. And here's more Xbox. That stuff wasn't taken off. It's just crazy how you can get on the internet nowadays and look up any kind of hints or hacks or anything now. But back then, when none of this stuff was around, I mean, for Xbox it still was, but gosh, for the Nintendo and the Super Nintendo stuff, that stuff was not around. You had to get guides or strategy guides, or you're talking with your friends. That's just cool. Alright, now we're moving on to the Atari 2600 and the Intellivision type stuff. We have lots of mix and match carts in here. This is always a fun one in here. These are good time wasters for sure. Killing some time with some simple games, you know. We got some television boxes, and right on the back side of this is cruise over here. Let me finish this last row here. And there's more people coming in actually, so I gotta start wrapping this thing up. Yeah, here's some more. Congo Bongo. to the left here, there's even more stuff up on the walls here. See if I can get some of the stuff behind me here. As I mentioned before, all these old games like this, there was no way you had to share with your friends on how you were playing and what you were doing. And these are how you did it back then. They had all these strategy guides. Just strategy guides galore here. I miss it. A lot of these places aren't around anymore. Prima, I think, closed down. All this stuff. I remember back in the day, getting a strategy guide for Mortal Kombat. I believe it was 3 when it came out. And I had the strategy guide came out a whole week ahead of the actual game hitting the arcade, so you could master some of the moves before hitting up the arcades, which was neat. I remember my dad taking me up to one of the malls there and just playing, and just love that stuff. Now we're into some Wii titles here. Believe it or not, there's a lot of good titles on the Wii. That was an overlooked. I mean, they made a lot of stuff on that Wii, but I mean, every single Goodwill you go into, you find one of the Wii balance boards. I mean, it's just everywhere. But there are some good stuff on there. A lot of the kiddie titles. Punch Out, Punch Out, and I love that. That one's actually really good for that system. I love that. Mario Kart, of course. Super Mario Galaxy 2. Mario Brothers Wii. Yeah, look at there's Wii Fit, Wii Fit, Wii Fit, Wii Fit. It's everywhere, man. You just can't get away from it. Just Wii Fit everywhere. Alright, then got some of the Wii U titles here. Donkey Kong Tropical Freeze. Super Mario Maker. Yeah, and to the right is more 360 stuff. I don't think I'm going to be able to grab it because there's more people in the store here, but I'll cut it off here real soon. We got our Switch stuff here. Some GameCube. GameCube had a lot of stuff. That system's getting harder and harder to come by now. Yeah, and there we have it, guys. This is Fallout Games. For sure, give this place a check out if you're ever in the Phoenix area. They also have a location in Mesa as well, so give that a whirl if you're over in that side of town in Arizona. Thanks again, guys, and we'll see you next week.